I don't really know how to start this. I've never done this before.
A fun way to start, if you don't know how to start, is to just start talking about whatever and then go into intros. That's been my the thing that I first learned from nerds, not nursing, but Nerdist, is that they would just like start in the middle of a conversation and then they introduce themselves.
That works for me. I obtained the new Power Rangers movie through what I assume are totally legal means to rewatch for this, and I took some notes here.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I did not expect it to start out with a bull masturbation joke. That came out of nowhere.
Oh goodness, man! I was really surprised by that movie. Like the I don't know. Like for me, I feel like it did a lot of things right, and then just one thing so wrong, but they did it so unapologetically that I went full circle and I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah. I was in this situation where it's like, I'm really enjoying this, but I know I shouldn't enjoy this, but I'm really enjoying this. It's like eating junk food.
Yes.
I mean, they went balls out with the product placement. Man.
Oh my goodness. I was shocked when Rita Repulsa said, dun Krispy Kreme?
Yeah.
What is this Krispy Kreme? I was like, no, you did not make Krispy Kreme a plot point.
Yeah.
You made Krispy Kreme a plot point?
We've got to protect the Krispy Kreme. They're all circling the Krispy Kreme. I'm like, oh my God. Rita Repulsa's in there. She's eating a donut.
Oh my God. I lost it. I'm just like, is this really happening? Like that was the moment where I'm just like, no, I believe aliens, dinosaurs. Yeah, no, that's fine. I can't want to say Dunkin' Donuts. Krispy Kreme being the central plot point of the movie.
Yeah.
That I have to question.
I can no longer suspend disbelief.
Oh my gosh, that was just. But they doubled down. They doubled down, and to that.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect that. Yeah, I think they could have solved the movie in 45 minutes if only they had an ice cold Pepsi.
Rita, you're not yourself. Try a Pepsi. Oh, this world has more to offer than I thought.
And then we get a police chase, right? Because these aren't your father's Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, yeah, it was so interesting. Just like because Power Rangers, I grew up loving Power Rangers, and even like the first series, and then later on, I want to say it was like right outside of the Saban era. Where they kind of switched, they made the full switch from it being like teens with attitude to being like adults who just so happen to be Power Rangers.
Right.
And the thing about Power Rangers is that they never really went like that in depth with character that they did with this movie. Like the Power Rangers felt like the realest that they have ever felt. I'm just like, oh man, like these are teens with attitudes, not just like.
And he didn't say it.
Yeah.
The first time that they've actually ever had teens with attitude, and Zordon doesn't say it. And I was just waiting for him to start, asking him to push the blue meth, any minute now. I couldn't believe that they went for that. I was like, no, you're not going to do the girl cuts her hair off in the bathroom cliche. But they did it. They did it.
I was really waiting for Zordon when he was wanting to become the Red Ranger. He's well, you had your chance. I'm the one who morphs. I was waiting for it. Didn't happen. I'm hoping it's a deleted scene. That's all I want.
It's got to be, man. I mean, surely to God he at least said it during an outtake. Come on.
Yes.
I've got a list here, man. We got, what is it?
Oh, yeah.
train cliche. I'll show you mine, I'll show you yours cliche. Black guy dies first cliche.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Death fake out cliche.
You're right.
Army falls when the big bad guy is defeated cliche. And that's just the ones I wrote down.
Yeah, riddled with all of the movies. And here's the thing. Usually when I watch a movie like that, I do kind of keep points of just like, oh, well, there's that thing. Yeah. But like there were several points in the film where like it completely went over my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They did do that.
Yeah.
And it's because I think the cool thing that they do with the movie is that I felt like they had the right amount of fan service. They had just enough to just be like, all right, I'm in for the next 20 or so minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not an original movie by any shape of the imagination.
But yeah, well, just like Deadpool wasn't very original, but it was very enjoyable, you know?
Yeah.
It's that when I first started watching it, I think that the beginning set me up to enjoy the movie because they do the bull masturbation joke, and then there's a debate about how many crayons one can fit in their rectum, and you can only go up from there. You know,
at first you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
Yeah, you know, and oddly enough, everybody's giving it 6, 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was especially with what they had to work with. Like, you look back at how the Gym movie just failed miserably because they tried so hard to like take this like 80s property that was just so incredibly 80s and modernize it in a way that just didn't make sense. Even the way they tried to modernize it didn't make sense. Like, even if you take Jim out of the equation, it wasn't like that great of a like pop star story.
Yeah.
But like they have like basically the same kind of property, and they actually did it like justice to the point where it wasn't so incredibly them trying to like remake this somewhat hokey TV show concept.
Yeah,
it felt like somewhat believable. And I think that's the thing that they did a lot of research and just great character. Because I was on board. I'm just like, oh man, I really care for these guys. And Zach was made like Zach. I love Billy. Billy was, I mean, objectively just maybe the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
But Zach made me feel, man. And I don't remember the Power Rangers making me feel that way watching the TV show. I'm just like,
and I was
crying. You're crying.
I was proud of them too because not only did they not make the Black Ranger the black guy, but they made a joke about it. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
he's like, I'm black. He's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I am. He's like, but you're not.
Somebody has been drinking Pepsi. It's the only explanation. It's poison sugar water is the only thing that solves problems like that. I was I thought maybe they might make the Pink Ranger a guy for a minute. I was like, you guys are breaking all the rules.
Yeah, it's just like
just go for it. Yeah.
And then Jason's just translucent. It's just clear. He's just naked the whole time, but he has the armor. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you that like so many kids' brains would have just been wrinkled. It's just like, look.
By the end of it, I was like, "Are you form the Megazord? Form the Megazord now. Are you going to form the Megazord now?
Right?
Come on, form the Megazord already!" Finally, I was in here. Both times I watched it, I kept expecting it to happen sooner, even after I'd already seen it.
Yeah.
And finally, they fall in the hole and they come, and I'm like, yes.
Well, I thought that was such a fun choice to do that because they made it seem like the Megazord like wasn't a thing before, that they just each individually like piloted their own thing, which would make sense. And so I man, the reveal of the Megazord, like I screamed, like I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And I thought I was going to have a problem with Zordon because, you know, Zordon having an ulterior motive like bugged me at first, but it's like you have to have character growth.
Oh yeah,
you know?
that's maybe like the best character backstory for Zordon, I think, because I mean he
Yeah.
becomes more invested. I think.
Well, they took something that looks to me like, you remember those things when you're a kid and you like put your hand or your face in it? It's got these
The little spikes, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so they took one of those and they gave it personality. They made me care about it, you know.
I bet you go ahead.
It's like you say all the time, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Exactly. It's like someone like took their kids to like Dave and Buster's and like, oh, Dad, what about this?
But man, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I definitely would give it a 7.5 out of 10 because it was really the only reason I'm taking points off is Krispy Kreme.
I know. The only reason why I didn't deduct points for it is that it was so absurd.
Yeah.
That I had to take it as a joke. I don't think they meant it as a joke, but I took it as a joke for the sake of my own sanity.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, here's the thing: is like I feel like now they have to double it for the sequel. Like, who is it going to be? Krispy Kreme? Is it going to be a Krispy Kreme and the feuding Dunkin' Donuts that the Green Ranger is now, or is it going to be Pepsi? Pepsi's like, we need someone to save us.
If there's someone here watching from Pepsi, you owe me money, and I'm coming to collect. I'm coming for you.
Oh, Blue Ranger sponsored by Pepsi. Oh, that's great. Yeah, did you watch Power Rangers growing up?
I did growing up. I don't know. Is it polite to ask you how old you are?
Yeah, no, totally. I'm 28.
I'm 35, and so I was in a situation where the only Power Rangers that I was young enough to enjoy in his prime was the original Power Rangers that was made with the Japanese footage, you know.
Yeah.
And
you know they still do that. It's still
really?
Absolutely.
You made me turn and look at you.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It started with the series, I want to say Zayu Rangers. And that the Japanese footage that they pulled was already like 8 seasons into that series already.
Wow.
And so our first one was like 8th or whatever iteration of it. And so from the beginning, like we keep on using more and more footage. The quality just gets better each season. And
right.
I thought it used to be just the live action parts that they filmed.
That's what I thought.
But it's way more than that.
Is it
like the putty stuff? Even some of the costuming stuff, like they match over, like, you know, like Rita and all those other guys, like those are also part of it. And now all the production, I want to say starting in 2003, I think when Disney bought them,
yeah.
They moved everything to New Zealand. So now they shoot everything in New Zealand.
I learned something today that I didn't know before, and that's that if you remember in the original series, they had 2 girl rangers, but only one of them had a dress when they formed. There's like a little skirt thing.
Yep.
And the reason why was because in the Japanese footage, it was a guy that played, what was it, the Yellow Ranger?
Yep.
And so that's the reason why there's no skirt on that one, but they just, you know, went with it.
Yeah.
But that's amazing that they can, you know, hey, let's take this footage in another language. That way we only have to make this part of the show, you know, so we can be lazy. Cultural phenomenon, you know.
Well, so there's a guy who was one of the stunt coordinators on the original Power Rangers, and he has loads of footage that he just uploaded to YouTube. That's just behind the scenes footage. Like
cool.
he choreographed like all the putty brigade. Like anytime the putties came in, they tried to have like some new weird entrance. Like the putties would get zapped down. They would all be holding hands, like tiptoeing like down this slide or whatever. And so they kept on trying all these different weird ways to like get them to do these different entrances. But like the stunt coordinators were like really, really impressive.
Yeah. There's if you I don't know if you've ever read any of these Where They Are Now articles, the original Rangers, but apparently they didn't get paid a lot for that. Do you remember the review that I did for the really bad Ninja Turtles adaptation?
Yes, I do.
That's the same company that did the Power Rangers, and that's how we ended up with the terrible crossover between the worst Ninja Turtles ever and the Power Rangers.
Yeah, that was Power Rangers in Space, I believe, and the Ninja Turtles, and that was the first crossover that they ever did. And every season since
had to be in space.
Well, they had so they did a crossover, but then from that season forward, the previous season of the Power Rangers would have a crossover episode with the new season of Power Rangers. So you would have Power Rangers in Space and Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, and Time Force, and so on and so on and so on.
I went through a list before we started talking of the different Power Rangers that came later, and man, there's a lot of them. Like, there's still one on today.
Yes, yeah, they're on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, like they got sold to Disney and then bought back. So, George Lucas, there's hope for you. You could make another bad trilogy.
He's just waiting in the wings.
Yeah. Well, once he's drunk enough Pepsi, then he'll go get it. And
he just does he just rings Disney's doorbell, just leaves a Pepsi, just runs away. He's like, remember.
Yeah, you don't get a neck like that without drinking a lot of Pepsi. A lot of Pepsi. That was mean. I genuinely feel guilty about that joke. I do. I'm still keeping it in.
give yourself a Pepsi and all will be right.
All will be forgiven. Back in the day, man, you had to do every franchise in space at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Coming soon to YouTube, Stewdippin Studios and FT Productions in space.
In space! Man, I remember. So one of my favorite other versions of Power Rangers was... Well, it was one of my favorites because I watched it before school, like in high school every day. But one of my favorite things, just kind of pointing to like a sign of the times, is that their morphers were a flip phone. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. They, I wish I had. Do I have my? Give me a second. I might just have. So check this out. I have a flip phone.
You do.
This is so they would do this. This would be their morph. They'd be like Wild Force, and then I was just like Wild Force, something blah blah blah, and then that's how they would morph. And I know that because I practiced. I was like, I have a flip phone. I'm a Power Ranger. Like in high school, like I loved it. It was one of the best.
I was the same way, dude. In high school, I was a child. I'm a child today.
Yes.
I am a large man baby, and I am proud of it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the way to be.
It wasn't until like only recently that I realized, like I was sharing with someone like, yeah, so meanwhile, in high school, I'm making a Ninja Turtle suit out of cardboard that I found around the school with duct tape and everything. And I'm like, I see. No, everything's starting to come into focus now. It's like, oh yeah, that's not a thing that a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. But
time to go make your driver's license. But Mom, I'm watching cartoons.
Get a car. Oh man, yeah. So let me ask you this question. I know you kind of perused through the Power Rangers, different iterations.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the one where they're wizards?
No, I did not. I thought you were going to say dinosaurs.
No. The dinosaurs were a very recurring thing. They're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dinosaurs again. So in 2006, there was a version of Power Rangers called Power Rangers Mystic Force, where they were wizards.
I saw the name in the list, but I would have never connected it to wizards. So
this was Disney's first Power Rangers series. And so basically, here's the backstory. 20 years ago, in a magic-filled dimension, parallel world of our own, the forces of darkness came into power, and a war called the Great Battle began between good and evil. An army of monsters, led by a powerful warrior named Mordecon, swarmed into the land with their sights set on taking over the magical realm, the human realm, and beyond. But they would have to combat a legion of brave and powerful wizards. The Mystics battled valiantly against overwhelming odds until they drove the evil back from the edge of the human world. The strongest wizard of all, Leanbow, cast a spell and sent the evil warriors into the underworld, having the gatekeeper seal the gates for all eternity. The forces of truth successfully thwarted the dark forces' attempt to take the surface world, but they lost Leanbow, as he made sure the evil forces did not escape by sealing himself on the other side of the gate. The human world would never know the great battle, nor of the sacrifices made to spare their lives from destruction. Even to this day, they live in peace and tranquility, totally unaware of what is about to awaken.
Uh-oh.
And so Q... so the Mystics were the Power Rangers,
right?
And so in the city, modern day time, in the city of Briarwood, it was struck by an earthquake, which was enough to crack the seal, allowing the evil to renew its attempt to invade the Earth. The sorceress Udana, realizing that the forces of evil had returned, sought out the Warriors of Legend, 5 teens living in Briarwood, to become the Power Rangers.
Token couldn't have done a better job himself.
And so while one of the teens was reluctant at first, he realized his destiny and joined the others in the fight against the master of the underworld and his numerous minions.
Is it common in new iterations of the Power Rangers for them to rewrite the whole backstory? I mean, do they all take place in their own universes, or are some of them connected?
That's a good question. I want to say canonically they are all connected. It's just they exist in some different point in time or location. So sometimes it's like, hey, these are the Power Rangers of Briarwood, or the Angel Grove Power Rangers were like in one city. And for a while, I want to say up until maybe Space, those Power Rangers like handed off their ability and their Power Ranger-ness to someone else completely
Power
different. Yeah. And so, excuse me. And so then after that, I want to say like after Time Force, it's just like, all right, great. So these are the Power Rangers that exist and have only existed. And then with the exception of Megaforce, which acknowledged that there were previous Power Rangers because they would morph into different Rangers to sell more toys. And so they would morph into like, oh yeah, let's morph into the Wild Force Power Rangers. And then they would.
The Batman and Robin of Power Rangers.
Yes.
Sell the toys, sell the toys.
Absolutely.
I can't believe how many towns there are in the United States that are almost big enough to be in the top 10 cities in America and look like your everyday average city that literally nobody's heard of. It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Here's my thing. Like when Power Rangers first joined Netflix, like back in 2011, I can only cite that because I made a video about it back in 2011.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that you cited that whole thing before from memory. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so when that happened, I was rewatching Power Rangers. I'm like, okay, guys, like Clark Kent, I get it. Like I get like why you wouldn't think that. Oh yeah, Clark Kent, like why would he be Superman? That's fine.
Yeah, and every time you see Superman, he's traveling 300 miles an hour.
Right. So it's just like, well, why would he be anyone other than Superman? Power Rangers, however, these guys show up, same color-coordinated clothes every day. Yeah. They leave at the exact same time, and you have to know they're Power Rangers. Like they're skipping class, they have to have terrible attendance. Just like, all right, well, the Power Rangers are at it again. So kids, get under your desk for the survival or like the Power Ranger drill that we have to do now. Yeah. But also, where are the 5 kids who would usually be here?
Yeah, they're gone. The lady that wears pink every day is gone. The guy that wears black and red, those guys are, the 5 of them are missing. And we don't know how to hide them from the 5 Power Rangers that are tearing down the town. It's a mystery.
Yeah, that that suspension of disbelief is just like, oh no.
I think maybe they were on to them, and then the Green Ranger started wearing white every day, and they were like, well, I guess it's not them. We were wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh man, speaking of the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, the actor who plays Tommy, he has been in Power Rangers the longest, spanning 5 series. He was the Red Ranger, he was the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, the Red Ranger in Zeo, the Red Ranger in Turbo, and the Black Ranger in Power Rangers Wild Force.
Wow, I did not know that. When we were kids, the Green Ranger, I thought he was just the coolest thing ever in the whole world. But my brother saw it totally different than me. He had sympathy for the Red Ranger because, he was the leader guy. He was the cool guy. And then here comes this guy, and he's evil. And, okay, now he's going to be a good guy, and now he's the leader? That just doesn't make sense. You can't come in here and take over, So that was his point of view. And I think it's like a big brother, little brother dynamic because, big brother comes in and takes things from little brother, right? So that's why he saw it that way and I saw it the other way, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting that, because I went back and watched, basically the whole Green Ranger saga, and it was amazing. Tommy Oliver shows up at Angel Grove, and him and Jason are in a martial arts tournament, and they're having a good time, and they're fighting and sparring and whatever. And it's like, oh wow, this is the first time this has ever happened. It's a tie, and so they're like, well, hey man, this is fun. It's like, yeah, we're evenly matched. This is great friendship. And then meanwhile, where he's Tommy's just going home in a back alley like you do, Rita's hey, I'm gonna make you evil now. And so that's how that happened. And it spanned for a while. I want to say it was maybe a 6 or 7 episode saga where they're like, who's the Green Ranger, and why does he want to fight us? And it was just a blast. He was about to kill the Red Ranger, and it was like watching an episode of Star Trek. It's just okay, well, we have to find his position so we can morph him out of there. It's he's on the moon. And so then right before he stabbed him, he got teleported back. It's just this is great.
I wonder, you've heard the theory about the transporter in Star Trek being a death machine, right? CGP graded a video on it. I wonder if the Power Rangers teleporter murders the Power Rangers.
Oh my gosh. No, I haven't heard that.
The idea is that every time you use the transporter, it's actually taking you apart and you're dead, and then it's building a new you on the planet out of, that's identical to you, and the guy thinks he's you, and then he does the mission, and when the mission's over, he's murdered, and a new you is printed out on the ship with the memories of both. So every time somebody steps into the transporter, they're being executed. And people say, well, no, it's in canon, it's supposed to take the actual atoms that make up you and compress them into a matter stream and shoot them to the other place and then put them back together. So it's definitely you. But then you watch the episode where Riker gets duplicated, and you think, well, that can't be true. They can't be doing it that way. Then how would there be enough stuff to build 2 Rikers unless it uses molecules on the site to put together to build the person?
Wow.
Yeah, and if it's pulling the atoms out of the air, then that's not you. That's an exact copy of you. You are dead. You were disassembled back on the ship.
Wow.
So I don't do as good of a job as explaining it as CGP Grey does, but I'll link it in the description. It's interesting.
That's super interesting. No, I never even thought of that. But yeah, it's because the way it happens with the Power Rangers, there's not even there's not a transporter machine. It's just oh, where are you? And they just get they turn into a color coordinated like bolt of lightning, I guess, and then they get
has to be color coordinated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then they get like zapped somewhere else, and it's like, oh, all right, I get that.
I remember thinking as a kid, and maybe this happened differently than I remember because you don't always remember things correctly. But I remember the Green Ranger ran out of power somehow.
Yes.
And so Zordon made him the White Ranger, right? And I'm like, okay, so you're not limited to 5 Rangers then. Like, if you really wanted to, you could make how many? How many can you make, Zordon? I want to know how many Rangers you're capable of making and why you're not in this fight 100%.
Yeah, that's a great question.
You know, how about an army? You know, Rita's got an army.
Yeah, like an endless army that she like, every week she just makes a new army. Like, and you're just like, now we got 5. We ran over budget. Yeah. They'll figure it out.
And Earth has absolutely no shortage of teenagers with attitude.
Yeah,
we've got plenty.
Yeah, like, and here's that's a great thing to bring up. It's just like, why all the kids who go to the same school? Like, why not just like, all right, we need the most angstiest, most teenagest teams with attitude. Let's go worldwide.
Yeah. Let's go scan them with the attitude detector.
Exactly. Beep, 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 beep. Like, oh wow, this kid in Oregon, he has some angst. He's like, oh, I don't know. There's a kid in Wyoming who has some promise. Like,
I'm not even sure why you want teenagers with attitude. It seemed to me like the original Rangers didn't have any attitude at all. It's like, hey, go kill Rita, go defeat Rita. Yes, sir, Mr. Zordon, sir.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, sure. I don't see why not.
Teenager with attitude would have been like, you go do it, big face guy.
Whatever, man. You're just a part of the system, all right?
You don't understand me, Zordon. You don't understand me.
You're just another form of the man. Get out of here.
The man's trying to keep us down, dude. I after watching the new movie, after the bull joke and the crayon joke, I was just waiting for the morphine joke to drop. You know, never got a morphine joke. Come on, mighty morphine. Nothing.
It was right there. They could have taken it.
So
low-hanging fruit. You missed it.
They understand restraint, and yet we've got to guard the Krispy Kreme donut. You know?
I think they said, listen, we will forego the morphine joke if we can keep the Krispy Kreme. If we can keep the Krispy Kreme, then we'll save the morphine one for the second movie.
That's what it was. Yeah. So,
gosh, so great.
It is great. It's great. It's a strange world, and I love it.
Oh man, if you were to create your own version of Power Rangers, like, because I mean, as far as I can tell, they aren't gonna stop anytime soon.
Yeah,
it's almost become like Doctor Who in a sense, where it's just like we can have as many, like, whoever we want to play the Power Rangers, and they're almost all like fairly no-name actors. So like,
oh my god, it just occurred to me, dude. Zordon is making more teenagers with attitude into Power Rangers. Maybe some of these shows are happening simultaneously, and like, we've accused this guy of not doing something that he's been doing the whole time, and all this stuff's happening at the same time.
Oh my gosh, you're right, because they don't like explicitly say like, I mean, I'm sure there are some seasons they're like, it's 2017. But you're right. That would be super interesting.
Yeah.
Like, what if? Because like in canon, there's this one point in time where Zordon basically gives up his life force to turn like good everywhere. So like Rita, Lord Zed, they all turn good, and
I saw a clip from that.
Yeah. But we don't know what happened before then. This is a really random place to go to, but it's like the Fast and Furious franchise. You like Tokyo Drift technically takes place like in a later, like takes place between episodes. And I say episodes, seasons, movies 7 or 8 or whatever.
I had to look up a flow chart to understand a movie about racing really fast. I had to look up a flow chart. Yeah.
Okay, this goes and then, but okay, all right. But yes, I think that's a really solid bit of headcanon. Like he's just like, all right, yeah, teams with attitude. Hey, they like get someone else to do this as well, just in case these guys don't work out.
He doesn't want to put all his eggs in one basket. That way they can't wipe out the whole lot of them at once.
Yes.
Not that Rita's army is capable of doing that.
Yeah. he creates like 10 fleets of Power Rangers, and like every week he's like, you know what? I might have overestimated Rita.
This was overkill. That's what this was. Overkill.
I'm sure there's other evil to fight somewhere else. That's really solid. I never thought of that.
I question the morality behind turning everybody good, because you have to change what makes them them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would imply that there was like a thing to get rid of, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like just the idea, like because it wouldn't affect any of the, I guess, good Rangers or any of the good people, but like, I don't know. It was a really, like, I didn't question it. Like when I saw it as a kid, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, sorry to see Zordon go.
Turned her good. Hey.
Yeah. So, but like that's.
I'm going to give my life to extract all the Pepsi from Rita.
Oh my gosh.
See, now I've done a total 360. Pepsi was the solution to all life's problems, and now it is the problem and has to be eradicated. That's what happens when you don't pay me. Pay me.
Pepsi, he's a powerful man. Pay the man.
I have 400 subscribers.
And those are 400 loyal potential Pepsi drinkers.
Yeah. Some of them drink 1 or 2 a year. Come at me.
Oh, I love it. Oh man. No, if I were to do like a version of Power Rangers, which I'm surprised they haven't done this again. Like Power Rangers Turbo was basically the Fast and Furious version of Power Rangers.
Really?
Because their Zords were cars. They were just cars.
Turbo. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So
I would love it if they did that again. Like that would be.
It sounds really interesting. Like, to me, there's this big gap in the middle because I watched the original and I got these like childish memories of them that aren't that vivid, except for like famous clips that you see on the internet, and then straight to the new movie. And I'm missing all this stuff in the middle, aside from like rumors and, speculation, which was big before the internet, children. Mm-hmm. Back before the internet, for those of you watching.
You had to like read a magazine about someone saying this might be a thing. It's like, well, this is a magazine, so it must be true.
And there was a lot of bad information going around.
Oh, yeah.
And we all believed it all. Everybody,
simpler
times.
Oh, yeah.
We're not the only one. It's actually worse than that when back in the early days, apparently, this wildly off topic, but the idea that you give a woman an engagement ring with a diamond and the idea that diamond is supposed to cost 2 months' salary are both advertising campaigns from the De Beers Corporation. And that's how they began. So that's not a thing. It's just they put out some advertising that said this is a tradition, and from then on it was a tradition.
Wow. Did you hear the thing about Listerine?
That it used to be floor cleaner and they made up halitosis?
Yep.
I totally stole your thunder there. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just glad you know it. I thought that, like, because that to me, like, because I saw it on Adam Ruins Everything, and I'm just like having a face journey, just like,
God, I love that show, man.
Oh, it's so good, it's so good. It's just like the fact that they just invented a term. They just said, no, we're gonna make people buy our stuff. We're gonna make them buy this floor cleaner and put it in their mouth and spit it out and say that dentists approve of this.
Yeah, and to say in so many words, if you don't gargle this floor cleaner, then nobody loves you. And they won't tell you. They'll talk about you behind your back because your breath stinks and everybody hates you. Now gargle floor cleaner.
Yeah. While all your friends are all having a great time at Krispy Kreme, you're here sitting alone drinking Pepsi. Oh, great.
This is just fantastic. This is good stuff, dude.
Oh, love it. Oh, man.
You and I have never talked outside of chat.
You're right. This is like the first time.
We just, this really took off, man.
I really enjoyed it. No, this has been fun, man.
This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do one of these a week. And I only know so many YouTubers, so I'm sure you'll be back. I hope you'll be back.
I would love to be back. Yeah.
And what I'm doing the first time around is I'm just sort of choosing the topics based on what I think the other person, what I consider. I picked you because I consider you to be the resident expert in the Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles.
Thank you.
So I would like to have you on again to do a Ninja Turtles thing.
Yes.
And that'd be lots of fun, dude.
Oh, absolutely. I would love that.
Absolutely. But I think we're going to have to wrap this up. I've got to get ready to get the kid off the bus, dude. But
okay,
this has been so much fun. Can you tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me across the internet. I am at Stewdippin in most places, and you can also find just my voice only if this bothered you at all at the Flashback Flicks Retro Movie Podcast. My friend and I talk about retro movies from the past, and it's a good time.
There will be links and cards and end cards for everybody, so click one.
Yeah, just one. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. You can only see Ricky on SoundCloud or YouTube. You can't do both, or I will come to your house with this Pepsi. And I will make you drink it.
I just imagine how people throw bricks through windows. You just like have a note and just throw it with a Pepsi and just throw it through someone's window.
You watched both.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for being on, Ricky. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.